Friends, it is a matter of great pride and pleasure for me that, as per the plans, this is my fourth video on thematic subject matter. And this thematic subject matter, I have taken up idea of religion. In this video, I would like to speak about the idea of religion and its perception from ancient times till date. At the outset, let me say, as a preliminary observation, that the idea of religion generally existed, evolved, and grew from ancient periods till date, reflecting and highlighting variations, changes in human societies, civilizations, culture, and intellectual and spiritual growth as well. Before I would like to further state about the religion, it is a very witness of the things to understand what is religion. It is the belief in and reverence for a supernatural power recognized as the creator of the universe. Every religion encompasses a range of practice, including sermons, rituals, prayer, meditation, holy places, symbols, trances, and feasts. And few important religions, it does not mean that other religions in the world are not that important, but it is very difficult for me to name so many religions that are being followed in different parts of the world. So, therefore, some religions which are followed by most of the people in different parts of the world are Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, by Buddhism, Confucianism, Jainism, Judaism, Zoroastrianism, Shinto, Sikhism, and Taoism, etc. If we see the overview of the evolution of the religion since early times and periods, the first stage, it may be categorized as a prehistoric and ancient times. At the initial stages of human societies, they practiced, rather believed, animism, whereof they believed in natural objects, for example, trees, rivers, mountains, and animals, as they possessed spirits. Another aspect of religion at this spirit was totemism, Totemism. Another early belief associated with human groups, class, or tribes, coupled with sacred animals or plants that they regarded as ancestral symbols or protective spirits as well. Another development that took place simultaneously during this period of early period, we find polytheistic religions. It developed as societies became complex and enlarged, started believing in varied pantheon of gods, identified with different aspects of life, for example, fertility, war, the sun, the sea, etc. Now, there are certain examples of religious faith in different civilizations, for example, Sumerian Greeks and Romans. They all had different intricate mythologies and rituals associated with their gods. And religion was not only a spiritual practice, but also served as a means to maintain social order, and legitimized political power. Rulers were considered as divine or semi divine, like the pharaohs of Egypt. The second stage, we can call it as a classical era or the classical stage of the evolution of religion. In this classical civilizations of Greece and Rome, philosophical inquiry led thinkers like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle explained, or rather explored, ethics, metaphysics, and the nature of existence, critically examined the traditional religious practices and beliefs as well. Now, simultaneously, during this period, we find the evolution of monotheistic religious or religions developed, such as Zoroastrianism in Persia and Judaism in the Levant. Now, these religious or religions highlighted the concept of a single supreme deity and emphasized moral conduct, individual responsibility, and spiritual purity as well. Now, let's come now to the medieval period. In this period, we find, in the middle period of history, we find the evolution of institutionalized religion and monotheistic religion. For example, Christianity and Islam, which grew widely across Europe, the Middle East, and parts of Asia and Africa. Now, these religious faiths became institutionalized with organized church and Orthodox Eastern Church and Islam's caliphates. Such religious authorities, they played crucial role in governance, law, and educational institutions as well. Now, during this period, let's see what was the concept of religion in India. Now, as we have already know about it, that in the Asian civilizations, the concept of dharma was much more akin or associated with religion. And therefore, we find that it developed a kind of a Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism. They influenced the society with their own temples, monastic institutions, and religious philosophies. And at the same time, we find simultaneously in China, Confucianism provided a framework for ethical governance and social harmony. As such, we see during early and medieval periods, religion was a source of both unity and conflict, provided social cohesion, moral guidance, and a sense of purpose as well. But also led to conflicts like the Crusades, religious wars, and inquisitions as varied groups sought to defend or expand their beliefs. Now let's come to the modern period and let's see what was the concept in the early modern period. What we call it as 15th to 16th century. In 16th century, we find Reformation. 15th to 16th century, we find the phase of Reformation. It challenged the authority of Catholic Church, leading to the rise of Protestantism and religious fragmentation within Christianity, and the reliance on individual faith and scripture transformed religious practice and perceptions, emphasizing more on personal conscience and introspection as well. After the Reformation, we find the period as enlightenment, 17th to 18th century. It marked, during this period, we see there's a marked shift and reliance towards rationalism and secularism. The famous philosophers and thinkers like Voltaire, Rousseau, and Kant criticized traditional religious authority and championed the cause for reason, science, and human rights. Scientific discoveries, separation of church and state in many societies, erupted and followed thereof the emphasis on religious freedom and tolerance. In the modern era, or say the contemporary period of history, the idea of religion and perception changed due to the ideology of secularism, globalization, and interfaith dialogue. Secularism became prominent in Western societies, having a political democratic setup due to advancement of scientific and rational thought and the process of explaining natural phenomena without reliance on religious explanation started firmly. Now, despite the secularism, religions religions remained influential globally. In some regions, religious revivalism, conservatism, fundamentalism, etc., were revived rather occurred. But interestingly, people also explored alternative or alternate spiritual paths outside traditional institutions. The 20th century witnessed the expansion of Eastern spirituality, for example, Buddhism, yoga in the West, focusing on personal well being and meditation. Now, interfaith dialogue. In the sphere of religion, it became a standardized approach by the nation states as globalization brought diverse cultures and religion in close proximity. Religious leaders and thinkers began emphasizing on common values, for example, compassion, justice, and promoting mutual respect and understanding with each other. Now, if we see the now recent, contemporary trends in the realm of religion, now we find individualized spirituality and diverse belief systems. Presently, we find that perception of religion are effectively diverse and at times complicated. Generally, people remain deeply committed to traditional faith, but many identify themselves as spiritual but not religious, following their personalized practices, for example, meditation, yoga, nature, whatever it is, personal practices in the particular faith. Another important feature recently is the rise of atheism, agnosticism, and secular humanism had developed in different parts of the world, highlighting a belief in ethics, reason, and scientific inquiry without reference to divine being. Now, new religious movements and spiritual approaches continue to emerge, often focusing on themes of inner growth, holistic health, and the interconnectedness of life. Interestingly, these movements adapt ancient practices for contemporary settings, emphasizing the practical benefits of spirituality. Needless to say, rather, it may be emphasized, religion still plays a significant role in politics and society in many parts of the world. While it is a source of identity and community, for others simultaneously, it is an issue of contention, especially when it intersects with politics, human rights issues, or nationalist movements as well. After saying this about the religion, I would like to say, with my little common sense approach, that in the present scenario in the entire world, in different societies, religious symbols or religious practice, or to show that if I am belong to particular faith or sect, people generally, while they are interacting with each other or when they are wishing each other, they name or they call the name of the god. For example, calling in early morning in the parks Ram Ram, or saying Jai Jai Guru Ki Khalsa, or Assalam alaikum, Inshallah, or a Christian, he will greet in a one or two sermons as provided in the Bible. Now, they are interacting with each other in the social life by identifying themselves with a particular faith. Now, whether it is a coincidence or whether it is a deliberate attempt to identify or to propagate a particular religion or faith, is a matter of details. It cannot be stated in a positive way. But nevertheless, one thing is very clear, that people, even though they do not believe in the conservative nature of religion, they start believing the religious faith or practice in their day to day life. And in a way, it is good also, because in that way, cohesiveness, mutual harmony, and understanding develops. However, another interesting aspect of religion can be understood by classifying the society or the world as a developed, underdeveloped, or developing world. Now, here, the economic status or the economic development or economic position of a particular state, and coupled with the level of education that the people are following or they are educated in that way, it plays a very important role towards their approach to religion. Apart this, it is also be said with a word of little caution also, that apart the religion as a source of spirituality, religious practices, beliefs, institutions throughout the world, in the different part of the world also, had become a source of commercial activity. And I would like to stop here, because to further develop and elaborate will take a lot of time and energy, and that is not a particularly the a part of the scope of this particular video. But since I was talking about the religion, I have to state this thing in a rather in a discreet way also, that this is a commercial activity also, there is a spiritual activity also, and then there is a continuity of that one's culture also, because throughout the world we have a wonderful churches with full of good architecture, mosques are there, then the beautiful temples are there, ancient times, medieval times, even the present day world also. The people go to these religious places and they practice their religious faith. But at the same time, how far and how much that this kind of an activity or following a particular way of religious faith enhances the humanistic elements in the individual self is a matter of debate. Because if that is not the case, so we find that the conflicts and the crisis of existence in different parts of the world is taking place also. Whether it is West Asia, Middle East, or Asia, we find a lot of fights going on, matter of political ideology based on religion. Therefore, it must be stated in all humility that, and in all fairness also, that the perception of religion has been transformed from animistic and polytheistic practices to complex monotheistic systems and philosophical traditions. Today, religion it encompasses a broad spectrum of beliefs and practices from secular and scientific perspectives to deeply spiritual and personal paths. Religion continues to be dynamic and evolving aspect of human life, adapting to the changing social, political, and intellectual landscape. Now, I stop here, and since the concept of religion, the idea of religion in the contemporary world has become very controversial, so I will not like to go further deeper into it. But nevertheless, the point is that religion was, is, and will always be an important factor in the existence of human life. Thank you very, very much. Thank you.